Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Book Brain. Today I'm going to be talking about a book trilogy by Blake Crouch. It's called Wayward Pines. So this is what the covers look like. Pines is the first one, Wayward is the second one, and The Last Town is the third one. It also is a TV show on, I think it's Amazon Prime or Netflix, one of those. I started watching it, but I didn't really make it all the way through because the books are better and a little bit different than the TV show when I read the books first. So it was just a little bit hard to get into that. These books are very good. They are action-packed. There's a very good plot twist. Kind of two, because there's one about halfway through and then another one at the very end, which kind of, it's kind of one of those plot twists that you didn't expect to happen and I didn't think about as a solution to one of the big problems that they have there. So they're a very good read and you'll get through them fast because you'll want to know what is going to happen next, which I found that this author has lots of. That's his style of writing, is action-packed, lots of stuff happens. You always are wondering what's going to be happening next. So I'm going to do a couple more reviews of books of his because I have a couple more that I've read. So for the first book, the main character, his name is Ethan Burke. He's a federal agent investigator. Him and one of his other partners go to find his missing ex-partner in this town that's way out in the wilderness. So there's two missing agents and Ethan and his partner are needed to go find them. That's what starts all of this big story that happens. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the actual plot of it. So if you don't want spoilers, just maybe skip ahead. But if you have already read it or you just kind of want to know what it's about, I'm not going to go into super details about everything. But just factor that in if you want to skip ahead a little bit to miss all the spoilers if you want to just go in blind. But so basically in this town, Ethan wakes up there after this supposed car accident. He instantly gets bad vibes from the town because he can't use the phone. All his wallet and clothes and all that stuff is kind of taken away from him while he's in the hospital and he can't get it back. It's a whole big rigmarole. And then he's kind of wandering around this town a little bit lost and can't figure out what to do or how to get help from anybody because nobody really wants to answer any questions or associate with him at all. And so he's wandering around lost, and then he sees his ex-partner there and she's just living her life. And he's like, why are you like 30 years older than you should be? I'm not sure if it's exactly 30, but she's a lot older than the last time he saw her, which was 2 months ago in his mind. And that kind of doesn't add up with anything. And he's really stressed about like what's going on. And then he also sees his wife and his son. So there's like other people that he kind of knows there, but they won't answer any of his questions or tell him what's going on. Everybody is just pretending nothing's wrong, and he's like, what the heck? Eventually, after all this chaotic, like running around trying to figure out who the people are running the place, what his wife and son are doing there, why his partner is there and why she's older, why nobody is actually addressing any of the concerns he sees, nothing's adding up for him. He decides he's going to try to escape and go get help for him and his family. He runs off into the woods and tries to escape. He runs into this big, huge electric fence way, way outside of the town. And he gets over it and then realizes he probably shouldn't have done that because outside of the fence, there's like millions of these monsters, like not where exactly he is, but he runs into a couple of these monsters, has to fight them off. They're trying to eat him and kill him. And he eventually realizes through talking with some of the townspeople, etc., that this town actually is the only place left on Earth where humans exist as normal humans. Because what's happened is there was a nuclear war, Holocaust situation. Everybody that wasn't put into a cryogenic sleep by this guy that created the town is now, thousands of years, has evolved into these monsters. How the town happened is the guy that set the town up, he is like the mayor or president guy. He is a scientist, and he put everybody into a cryogenic sleep because he knew this nuclear war was going to happen. So he put a whole bunch of people into this sleep chamber inside this mountain, and has just been waking them up progressively as the town develops. And that's how they're going to repopulate the earth and everything. That's the plan. So to get to that point, though, Ethan goes through a lot of stress of trying to figure out what's actually going on, because people don't know what's wrong outside of the fence, generally speaking. The kids are taught it at school, but most of the adults just think that they're stuck in this town and they're not allowed to leave. They don't know that any time has passed since they've been kidnapped. Like, they don't know that thousands of years have gone by. They just think, I woke up from a car accident and it's 1960 and I'm not allowed to leave this town, as an example, because different time frames people have been brought into the sleep chamber. So some people think it's like 1960 or something. Other people are like, no, it's 2008, but they were woken up at different times. And so nobody even talks about it, though. You're not allowed to talk about it. You just kind of live this fake, everything's fine life, so that you don't get like killed on the street, basically. Because what happens with Ethan and his big escape situation is they will kill and hunt down and kill anybody that makes basically too much of a big deal and is freaking out in the town, or breaks any of the rules, or anything of that sort. Anybody that is a big problem in the town, they call everybody at the same time in their homes and say, we're having, I think it's called a reaping at 7 p.m. And then everybody just goes out and starts hunting down this person with like baseball bats and stuff. And the president guy is like, no, it's fine, because that's how people like burn off their anger and things like that. So they try to do that to Ethan, but he escapes. He escapes this fence, realizes, and then goes back to the town because he's like, I can't go out there. This is full of monsters. This whole town is a lie to cover up the fact that the scientist moved all these people into an isolated town and put them to sleep and woke them up because of the nuclear holocaust that happened. So that's the major plot twist of that part. Then in the second book, it's more about living in the town. Ethan's trying to figure out his family situation. His ex-partner, who was working with him at some point and knows his wife and stuff, has some drama between Ethan, this partner, and the wife. There's some kind of like lovers quarrel drama with that part. So the second book kind of talks about that, as well as this kind of secret society, like secret meetup of people in the town. They go up into the mountains and they like basically just party and talk about the fact that what's going on isn't actually normal. But then when they go back to town, you can't say anything about your life before, anything, like you can't talk about anything being abnormal, because the town is like covered in video cameras and microphones and stuff, and you're not allowed to, you just have to pretend that I've always lived this life in this town. So that's kind of book 2. They kind of are working on things like that. Ethan becomes the sheriff. and they're figuring out all those details. So book 3, they have this scout come back. The scout is the partner that Ethan had who wants to be with his wife. He comes back. That's what causes all this drama. But also, more importantly for humanity, is the scout comes back and says, there is like nothing out there that is a safe haven. There's no other human people around. It's all just covered in millions of these monster creatures that will kill you instantly almost. So they are just kind of like, okay, well, we are, I guess, stuck in this town. But then, of course, the town gets breached, and everybody in the town finally realizes that like the truth of the situation, that there's monsters outside the walls. It's been thousands of years in this frozen sleep chamber, and they're all waking up from it at different times. And say they've lived in this town for 10 years. They think that it's just been 10 years from when they had this like car accident or whatever they were lied to about. So they come to Wayward Pines, have a car accident, or however they end up there. They wake up and they're like, oh, it's 2 days from when I was living my regular life with my pet dog at home. But in reality, they've been asleep for, I don't even know how long it was, thousands of years. And they were woken up in the Wayward Pines, and then they've lived there for 10 years. But they have not known what's actually going on until the town is breached by these monsters during one of the reapings. So the town people, most of them are like shocked by this news because they didn't know the truth. And there's a lot of fighting amongst the soldiers that are running the town, that are kind of on the president's side, and figuring out the plan of sustainability of how this town is actually going to work, and the interpersonal conflict between characters is a lot in the story. Like that's a big part of it. And then the book kind of ends with a good cliffhanger, because it wraps everything up in the main Wayward Pines town. That's all dealt with, generally speaking. All those personal conflicts are resolved because people basically get killed off. So then they're not a problem anymore. And how they solve the problem of the earth is completely overrun by these monsters, and all we have is our little town, and we're probably going to run out of food. We can't really expand. We can't leave to go explore, really. It's too dangerous. All those problems of being isolated in one town are solved because they decide, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our cryogenic sleep. Everybody's going to go back and do that, except for a couple people stay and volunteer to like put everybody to sleep and make sure it stays okay. And we are going to set our timer for another 3,000 years, and we'll wake up in 3,000 years and basically hope that there's been a longer evolution of these monsters and they have kind of killed themselves off or devolved into something less dangerous, because we can't do anything in this timeline that we're in now. So we need to press fast forward for a couple centuries and wake up, and hopefully the world has changed for the better, because that's our plan. So that's what they end up doing at the end. And it's kind of a different ending. Like I guess I didn't really think about what was going to happen at the end, but I thought it was a good ending because I can't think of a better one, because otherwise it's like, okay, well, you just stay living in Wayward Pines and eventually peter out humanity because there's not enough food and stuff. And you can't like make good crops and whatever because it's too far north, and all these problems that they had of sustainability. You just have that fail, and then the world is taken over by monsters, which, whatever. But like, I think it was a good ending because I can't think of one way to have it end differently where it didn't seem like a lame ending. So overall, excellent book series. I would recommend, if you're buying them, buy all 3 at once. If you're getting them from the library, rent all 3 at once, because you're going to want to read it as if it was like one continuous book, because it's so good and you're going to just hopefully be obsessed with it and just not want to have to wait to get the next book. I think it would probably also be really good as an audiobook. I didn't listen to the audiobook version of it, but I've listened to other books online or on audiobook of Blake Crouch's, and they have also been really good. So there's lots of different options of ways to read these books. If you like the books, or if you like the video, leave a like. If you've read them, I want to hear what you thought about them, what your favorite part was, or if you didn't like them, what you didn't like about them also, because I'd like to hear a different perspective of what the books were like. Overall though, I liked them a lot, obviously, because I have them, and I'll probably be reading them again sometime. Maybe I will finish the movie series, TV series, and do a little video on that, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get through it, because I find it hard once you read a book and you really like the story to watch the show if it's kind of different, because it's just not quite right. But the actors were good in the TV show. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes and I thought the acting was good. Just that the story was changed a bit and I couldn't really get into it as much because I knew the truth. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to be trying to post more book reviews because I've got quite a few books backlogged that I need to review. So hopefully you'll stick around and subscribe and be ready for the next video when they come out. Thanks.